Hello. I have a really bad headache, but I have to get this done with. So, let's start, I suppose. Today's lesson shouldn't be as long as the previous two. And that's because we pretty much got all the groundwork out of the way for consonants and vowels for the foreseeable future. Vocabulary as usual. The longest part is definitely going to be grammar. I'm choosing a new section, also spelling of the week. Pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, basically, yeah, that's it. Let's get started. Alright, the longest part by far is going to be the grammar. So I originally was going to include all of modality as one topic, but then about 30 minutes of this video would be consonants, vowels, vocabulary, and spelling, and the other hour would be modality. Okay, so maybe let's not do that. Let's split. I'm going to split off modal auxiliaries, modal verbs, modal adverbs and adjectives onto next week's video, and this week I'll only cover verbal moods. All right, cool. Today's consonant of the week. There are actually 4 because they're very boring. C, J, K, and G. These are the last, not the last few stops, right? I still have, T, I still have B and D left to cover. I think I'll do them all in one too, because they're both minus stops, and yeah, it's still a bit interesting. But C, H, J, K, and G are all stops. No, they're plosives. They're all plosives. How did it say stop is called? No, they're plosives. And stops, and they're obstruents, okay? Yeah, they're obstruents. I don't really know, because K is a stop, G is a stop, but C, H, and J are affricates. Do plosives? Oh, there'll be a correction on that if plosives are actually a category that covers both stops and affricates. But yeah, these two are affricates. I realized I never actually explained what an affricate means. So what is an affricate? Well, an affricate is a stop that gets released into a fricative. So, for example, CH in IPA is represented something like this. T, and then there's this thing, I think. Sorry on that. Right? So, yeah, you can see that. That's good. Okay, so what this means is that this is the first sound. This is the second sound. Right? What is this consonant? Have I done this backwards? That is not right. This is the SH sound. And this is the T sound. So essentially what happens when we say ch is that we start by saying the letter t, but as we get close to releasing the stop, we morph it into a fricative. We hold it in the open position as a fricative. Ch, ch, ch. And that's all, basically. So I guess I'll do like a property table. C, H, J, K, G. Affricate, stop, plosive, fortis, lenis. right? CH is an affricate. CH and J are affricates. K and G are stops. They are all plosives. These two are fortis, and these two are letters. Right, and those are the properties of the four consonants that we're talking about today. The reason I say they're boring is that they don't really have much mutation. They're all a lot further back in the mouth than p-t-k-d, sorry, p-t-b-d, right? Which means that there's not really bless me. There's not really that much stuff that you can do with these consonants. Especially K and G, right? There's absolutely nothing going on with K, with G. K is sometimes ejective in words, as the end of words, like in Mac, right? If I really emphasize it, Mac, not Mac, it's Mac. Maybe a bit further back it might be like too, but I actually should be erasing these. G is very boring. It basically never mutates. CH is our first digram. So what is a digram? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's two graphs or letters, if you will, that all represent one sound. So CH is ch. J is y. Sorry, J is j. Right? And CH, J is just the Lennox version of CH. And in addition to that, yes, CH and J are strongly labialized. That means that when you pronounce CH, your mouth is very rounded. Right? More rounded than you do in other languages. So instead of saying chew, you say chew. It's a very subtle difference to people who don't speak languages like, Welsh or Scottish Gaelic that have this labial distinction as like a phoneme, but it is, I've been told it's like a part of English, but trust me, people can tell the difference. Moving on to vowel of the week, we have the first vowel in the chart. Let me just move the table. 2, 3, 4, and U is special. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, E, I, O, U. Right, so this is our first vowel in the grid. Actually, we had one before, didn't we? We had one of the ones. But yeah, this is our first official vowel in the grid. And it is AE, which is found in words such as man. I'm actually not sure what that corresponds to in the lexical center. I'm going to have to check. Trap. Yes, it's the trap vowel. Trap. And in some American accents, it's also merged with palm. Trap and palm. Palm, yes. This is the trap. Trap vowel. And bath. Yeah. Also bath, but that's the long version. Nope. No, never mind. I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah. As I was saying, no, the bath vowel is the same in American English yeah, there are two. GA stands for General American, by the way. It's like a general American dialect, a standardized American dialect. You usually see like intellectuals speak it, for example. It's a prestige dialect, essentially. Trap and pop. Those are the two lexical sets that AE falls into. How is it spelt? Well, it's found in words such as man. As I said, it's spelled in like. It's regularly spelled laxe. Right? A trap vowel, obviously found in trap, and as you can see, this is also a laxe. It's honestly, in the grand scheme of things, one of the less common vowels. You'll see in words like lax. That's not the same vowel as man. Lax, man. No, that is the same vowel. Never mind. But yeah, lax, man, lax, man, no, not quite the same, might be, but I think generally it is the same vowel. Lax, yeah. Anyways. It's sometimes irregularly spelled with tense A, so the word have. It contrasts. So there are a bunch of vowels that are spelled like similarly, but they're very different. And here is just some to watch out for. Some. Sorry, no, same. Same. Want, lava. Obviously, this is reduced, so alright, this is black. Same. Right? These are not the same vowels. Man and same. Man and want. Man and lava. If you pronounce any of these the same, you're wrong. And you're not a native speaker. I think I should clarify that. While there are certainly quite a divergence in accents in English, and I certainly can't speak for every single accent, if you are a second language speaker, of English, this is wrong. Pronouncing all these words the same is wrong. I don't know if you're like, I don't know if you speak like Highland Scottish English or something, but if you're a second language learner, that's wrong. Anyways, the R version can be spelled normally if the second syllable is unstressed, and ARR if the next syllable is a vowel. So for example, man, mare, man, mare, man, mare, man, and air. No, not the same. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I didn't prepare a sample. I'll just go through some words. Right? March. Man, march. No, it's one syllable. Man, marquee. Man, and man, marquee. Let's go with marquee. All right, same vowel. Same vowel. But it can also be spelled ARR. I do have an example for this one in words such as barrel. I will again highlight the vowel. I'll highlight the wrong vowels in this one too. Alright. I believe that's the end of... Yeah. Oh, no. My bad. It can also be spelled A-L. I also don't have examples for this, but man... Meal? No. Man... Male? Yeah, male. Notice how this is, man, may, man, no, that is just a regular tense. But, you see my point? This point is very confusing. I don't know why I didn't prepare samples for these either, but, whatever. I'll keep this on the, no, I'll redraw this. That's the end of all the week. The AL examples are pretty rare. AL and ALL are usually pronounced with that vowel, with the trap vowel. Moving on to vocabulary. Right. So last week we did commonly confused words. Right? Commonly confused words. Right? And I gave the first half to this, so here's the second half. There are a lot of words in this category that I've thought of, so I'll add them. Alright. Commonly confused words part 2. Let's go. Effect is the noun. Right? It's the noun for, as in the thing that the effect affects, essentially. Or the thing that the effect does to the thing. That the affected thing has been afflicted, I should say. It's like visual effects, right? Counselor. someone on a council. Counselor. Someone on a council. As opposed to someone who gives counsel. 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 Right? They're subtly different vowels. Complementary. Complementary. Different from complimentary. Complimentary means it's free. Speaking of free, this means without cost. A lot to allow, basically, to like set aside for a group or individual. Continuous. It means unbrokenly, right? If continual means it's like this, continuous is like this, right? It has never stopped. Prospective. Right? Prospective. This is like someone's future. It's someone's potential. Right? It can also be like mining related. I think this term originally came from mining. Like when you go prospecting, you're looking for ores. Prosperity. So let's start with prosperity, which is one I originally had on there. Prosperity means like flourishing, right? It means like sort of, you know, comfortable, wealthy. Like that's what it means to be prosperous, right? You're comfortable, you're affluent, you're well off, I can rattle off synonyms all day long, but that's basically what it means. Posterity means it's like an abstract notion of like future history, right? Like it's this sort of mindset that right now will become history. And so we need to leave some things behind for posterity, which basically means that the people in the future are going to be able to see back in time and read this thing that we left for posterity, or this thing that we recorded for posterity, and they're going to be able to figure out our life from that, which is a very interesting concept. Prodigy is someone who's very smart, very talented, typically at a very young age, like at a level that far exceeds their age, and typically their abilities are not fully developed yet, right? So it's like they're still growing, but they're growing at a very fast rate, so like a promising seedling, right? Propensity is habit, right? It's like someone's inclination or someone's bias towards doing something or other. For example, he has a propensity for theft. He has a propensity for forgery. That means he forges a lot of things, right? And these are all subtly different from each other, right? Won't means will not. The apostrophe is important, guys. Stationary. Not stationary, stationary. Right? This vowel, this is an unstressed cluster. That's the difference, right? And the spelling difference, obviously. Which means that this becomes silent, and this affects the preceding vowel. Stationary is like is like office supplies, right? It's supplies you use to do paperwork. It's supplies you bring to school. It's supplies you bring to the office. It's supplies you bring to basically like anything that has to do with recording information or of making lines on paper, such as these markers, right? But not anything big, right? Stationary, small items. Like a calculator would not be stationary. This marker is stationary. This whiteboard's not stationary. And lastly, perpetuates. It means to keep going. I should start writing down headings. I think that's a cool thing. I don't normally do my title case like this, but why not? Today's spelling of the week is B. Because I'm trialing the segment right now. It's very simple. B is very, very, very simple. But I first have to explain what a morpheme is. So a morpheme is the smallest lexical unit of meaning in a language. For example, forthcoming is forth, come, in. Right? So that one word has 3 morphemes, and they all mean different things, right? Whereas this word is one lexeme that is 3 morphemes. A lexeme is basically just a word. It's like a more linguistically. It's not quite a word. It's I don't really know how to explain it, but that is one lexeme. So the reason why I need to explain this is because B is silent after M in between morpheme boundaries. So for example, comb, silent. Bomb, silent. Combing, silent. But I have no idea why I did not give examples for any of this. But combated. Combated. The B is pronounced. Right? And yeah, it's pronounced everywhere else. Basically, with little to no exception. And that's why I'm saying this is really simple and I'm just trying this segment. How are we doing on time? 30 minutes. There are going to be some really short segments next week, huh? Oh well. Oh, here goes nothing! Grammatical feature of the week. I'm going to split the board up into a few parts. Modality. Subjunctive. conditional imperative. Right, so what is modality? Well, if tense is the way a verb can relate to time, and if aspect is the way a verb can extend over time, then modality is the way a verb relates to reality. See? Yeah, that's good. Right. So, as modality is one of the most fundamental aspects of language, there are many, many different ways to express modality. I will give 4 main ones that we'll be focusing on in the next 2 weeks. In this segment and the next. Verb moods, which is not the mood that is not the mood that we have, or the mood that a text has. No, it's a different definition of mood that is sort of a form of modality. Modal auxiliaries, modal verbs, modal adjectives, and adverbs. Right. So what does any of this mean? Well, today we're going to cover verb moods. And maybe some of the auxiliaries too. But the full list of auxiliaries will be available next week. So verb moods are either realist or irrealist. I think you can tell what these mean, but a realist mood is sort of like represents reality exactly as it is. And an irrealist mood represents not reality. Right? There's only one kind of realist mood. Really, there's only one kind of realist mood in basically every single language in the world. There are probably some outliers with another realist mood, but there's generally only one kind of realist mood, and that is an indicative. Realist mood, the indicative, which, as name suggests, is as simple as can be. It indicates things, right? So, the hell is a subjunctive? Subjunctive, all 3 of these are irrealist moods, by the way. So the hell is a subjunctive? Well, a subjunctive, English has 3 irrealist moods, as you can see. I'm using the term mood in the loose sense. So not a mandatory inflection from a verb, but rather that which is normally mandatorily inflected in other languages, but is not in English. So subjunctive is made using the bare form of verb. And it's sometimes used to mandate an action. Such as, I insist. But how do you make the subjunctive? First, before this, how do you make the subjunctive? Well, it's very simple. You just use the infinitive, except no matter what, you just use the infinitive. For example, to be, right? Normally in English, you would say something like, I am. I am, you are, he is, he, she, it is, he, she, it, they is, whatever. It doesn't matter. We are, you all are, just going on French punctuation charts, they are. Subjunctive. I be, you be, he be, we be, you all be, they be. As simple as it can get, really. Just throw everything you know about English conjugation out of the table, out of the picture, and that's the subjunctive. It can sometimes be used to mandate an action. For example, I insist that Tom be here in our next meeting. Right, and this is the subjunctive. It is sometimes used to mark probable action. Although that is quite an antiquated usage. If need be. I will speak more about this in the conditional section. And lastly, it is it is not used after verbs like hope or wish. Right? I think it's important to note that in the mandate usage of subjunctives, they can be replaced with should. Right? So, although that is quite an antiquated usage in most accents. So instead of saying, I insist that Tom be here in our next meeting, you can say, I insist that Tom should be here in our next meeting. Although, yeah, again, as I said, nobody really says that, at least in the US. It is a very unusual construction. Right? And they're mandatory after list. Can I move this thing higher? This is the highest it goes. Anyways, moving on to the conditional. There are 4 types of conditional sentence. And before you know this, I just want you to know some terminology I'll be using, because I don't know how to explain it better. The antecedent. Actually, it might be better if it's labeled, the parts of conditional. I will use conditional 0 here. If you are reading this, I am dead. It's a pretty classical fantasy line. So what are the boxes I've highlighted? The blue is called the inference indicator. Right? You don't have to worry about this. The red is the antecedent. And the green is called the consequent. Right? This is the consequence, or this is what follows from the inference. For example, like, this is the second part of the inference, and this is the first part. Right? This can easily be swapped. You're reading this if I am dead. The roles are still the same. If this is true, then this is true. If the antecedent is true, then the consequent is true. If the consequent is true, that does not mean the antecedent is true. This is called affirming the antecedent. Sorry, affirming the antecedent or the other way around? I'm not sure. No, it's the other way around. Yeah, denying the antecedent. Sorry. Which is saying, I really don't have to explain logic to you, but basically the two fallacies are denying the antecedent and affirming the consequent. And yeah. But yeah, this is antecedent and this is the consequent. And yeah, I'm going to use this terminology to describe the tenses of the conditional statements. So generally, a conditional statement starts with if. It can also not start with if. I'll explain that at the end. But generally, it starts with if. So first, conditional 0. It's sentences that describe an implication. Such as, if you're reading this, I am dead. It can use any tense. Although, usually not will. It's not a tense, but it is future marker. Usually not that. So conditional one concerns consequences, describes consequences. And I'd just like to make light of the difference between 0 and 1 here. 0 is certain, right? It's a deductive statement. The action has already happened, right? He is already dead. Okay? This is not a hypothetical. That's why it's 0. It's not a hypothetical. He is dead. If you are reading this, he is dead. Right? If you run a red light, you will. If you run a red light, you are fine. Right? This is not. If you have run a red light, you are fine. If you run a red light, you are fine. Right? That is a rule. This is a hard and fast rule about something that has already happened. Not so much for this. For example, the example I'm going to give, if you run a red light, you will be fine. Again, you have not ran a red light yet. Just to be clear, C1 does not mean that you have ran a red light yet. It just means if you do run a red light, then you will be fine. Right? This is constructed with the antecedent using the non-past tense and the consequent using the modal verb will in the present, in the non-past tense. Will is in the non-past tense and run is in the non-past tense. Remember this. As we move on to C2, which is counterfactual. Concerning a present future time frame. Or rather concerning a non-past time frame. Right? What does it mean that it is concerning a non-past time frame? Well, that means, just like C1, that means that it has not happened yet. This is another level of more hypothetical, right? What does counterfactual mean? It means that it will not happen, right? It means that in this, like, it is metaphysically possible, meaning that it could happen in some alternate universe, but it will not happen in this universe, right? It is not physically possible, but it may be physically possible. It may not be psychologically possible. It may be hyperbole, it may be exaggeration, but it is metaphysically possible. It is possible without time travel to write this wrong. For example, if I were to run a red light, I would get a $300 fine and 3 demerit points. Right? Notice the tense here. I don't think I need to highlight the consequent and antecedent again. I feel like it's pretty clear. Let me draw this in black. Let me draw this in some other color, actually. Like green. I don't know. Not really. But, yeah. Notice the tense here. Were. Would. This is in the past subjunctive. I forgot one thing for the subjunctive. There is an exception. Will in the past subjunctive is were. That's the last thing. So this is the past subjunctive. And this is the present subjunctive. Right? So how this is formed is the antecedent goes past subjunctive infinitive. And the present goes and the consequent goes present subjective non-past subjunctive, non-past. And this can be this could be any non-past tense, like have gotten, could have gotten, or something like that. I think some water. Last one. C3. Counterfactual concerning a past time frame. All right. So what are some examples of this? I'm going to write it this way because the imperative really does not have that much to say. One example is if I had ran a red light, I would have gotten right? So what is this? What is this? Right. By the way, when I say the conditional mood, it is technically this, right? Would and then the present tense. But it's really just a fancy modal auxiliary. If I had ran a red light, I would have gotten a $300 fine and 3 demerits. This is the proper past, not the subjunctive. This is the past. This is the past perfect, and this is the perfect, and this is the conditional perfect. Yes, this is the conditional perfect, and that's basically how you construct the conditional tense. If I had run a red light, I would have gotten a $300 fine and 3 demerits. Would have gotten. Would have. Right. Have being the again the helper for the perfective aspect, and would being the modality. You see why I had to do tense and aspect before I did modality? It's a very big mess. Lastly, imperative. It's very, very, very simple. Much simpler than this, thankfully. And it is just the bare form of the verb. So bare form of the verb forms the U form. And the you use the modal auxiliary use a modal auxiliary to let to form other forms. For example, go versus you go. Let's go. Let's go, which means let us go. As compared to we go. And if you want to negate imperative, you need to add do, the verb do. For example, don't go versus you go. You do not go. It's the same, basically. But it's almost always contracted in the imperative. Let not go versus let us we do not go. Right? So it's only when let is not used that you need to add do for negation. And that's it for mood. How are you doing on time? That's what I expected. Fine. There we go. Hate this thing. Anyways, lastly, idiom of the week. A stitch in time saves 9. Stitch as in the clothing. Stitch. If you're watching this, you probably know what a stitch is. But if you don't, a stitch is like a piece of thread that you put through a hole in skin or a hole in clothing in order to patch it up, like to close the hole. Right? And what this saying means is that if you do one stitch while the hole is still small, it will save you 9 stitches in the future because the hole will be much bigger if you don't stitch it up now. What the saying means at a past a more literal sense is that you should do things before you should do things or solve problems before they get very big. Yeah, thank you for watching. I somehow managed to make that the same length as the first two, even though they're real nothing burgers. Anyways, have a good day. See you next time. I'm gonna drag this out to an hour. And now.